Marty,
what
thanks
up?
for being here, man.
Oh man,
Welcome to the mothership.
That's what.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah.
Everybody that sees our stuff, sometimes they're like, "Oh, yeah, UFOs." You know, I'm like, "Yeah, we'll totally talk about that," but I'm not
Isn't
like the authority.
Right now, time to storm Area 51.
Yes,
that's today, right?
Or, was it like a 3-day event? Right?
Oh,
I think it was more than once. Yeah. So yeah, we're probably right in the middle of it. So.
We're at the end of the storming of Area 51. I would really wish I could be there.
For real? Like, I kind of do too. Like, I mean, personally. In reality, I'm like, yeah, fuck those people.
Oh,
you know?
no. Yeah, no. Anybody who's there because they think there are literal aliens and that they could somehow
Naruto run up into it. I've seen that shit. It's just like,
it's so dumb.
I cannot see enough of that with people just like put their hands behind their back.
I love it.
And just running in front of a camera, someone doing a little piece or whatever.
I love it. Anybody who thinks that they can actually get in, and that the idea that Area 51 is where the government hides their shit, ridiculous.
Yeah,
like there's no fucking.
Well, no, see,
way.
technically it's at S4, and that's a place inside Area 51. You know. That was just to fool you, know? It's a different name.
Man, I drank the Kool-Aid, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to believe. I love, it's entertaining. It's so entertaining to deep dive into that shit.
I have had several conversations recently about, about both sidesism and how that's a logical fallacy, right?
Okay.
Like that is, if you say we got to give equal time to both sides of the argument, then that opens up people saying, like, you got to give equal time to people who say, no, the moon landing simply didn't happen.
I've heard that with climate change.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, hey, let's give just equal time to the total deniers.
To the people who say, hard science does not exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Or doesn't apply here.
Yeah. And let's be honest, those people can go fuck themselves. Like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense at all.
It's very picky and choosy.
Yeah.
You know?
It's religious.
Yeah.
Like, here's the part of this old myth that I accept this. But part of this old myth, I'm going to throw that away, right? And that's fine.
We do it all the time.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. But we don't need to say that, yes, equal time for your fucking nonsense idea to be part of the conversation. Climate change is literally physically noticeable. Yeah. We know. Science is inexact, and that's fine, but we see that ice caps are melting.
Sure.
You know?
I'll give you some anecdotal stuff. Like, I told you, like, I deliver a lot of stuff around OKC. Mm-hmm. And, you end up talking to a lot of people that you don't know or that are just from different walks of life. Like we said before, some are crazy.
Right.
That's just, people are nuts sometimes. But you will be talking to them, and especially the older ones. And you can tell they have no understanding of what you're talking about, like, especially like science and stuff, and they're not dumb. They're just ignorant of it.
Ignorant. That's good. Yeah.
But they will say things like, depending on whenever I was there talking to them, they're like, "Oh, the weather's crazy today." Like, not that today. And they are pointing out, like, something's weird.
Right.
I've talked to an 81-year-old, and they're like, "I've never seen it like this before." Whatever crazy weather event it is. Maybe it's really hot. Maybe it's like a storm that came through that did something that never been done before. Whatever,
Right.
But they're people that are not liberal. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
And don't care about the science, but they themselves are just talking normally, like something's going on. You know?
It's the wildest thing. And I would say, like, let me trace it back to, I used to be a fervent believer. I did church work. I was a believer.
Yeah.
Religiously. And, I got to a point, I went to school, I studied theology, and at the end of my time of studying theology, I got to a point where I was like, oh, I got it. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what I came to.
Sure.
But I know so many other people who studied theology, and that confirmation bias was at work. And so they still are in the faith. And that's fine. I don't want to take anybody's joy or comfort away from them, right? But that is the way that I think many, many people, especially our friends and neighbors, our family members here in Oklahoma,
moms and dads.
Yeah. That's how I think they look at climate change, etc. They watch fucking Fox News, and Fox News says, well, this is what's fake. And they say, good.
Yeah.
I worried that was true. So
you
thank
never
you
know,
for telling me it was fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had my co-host went up to where I'm from, up in the Panhandle in Kaiman, and like you drive up there now and it's just windmills fucking everywhere. I mean, there was zero up there maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Just none. Now there's thousands. I mean, just like fucking everywhere. And there's more, you know, being up there all the time. And like, especially growing up there, it's just like, it's way windier than down here. And, you know, you kind of know, you're like, when are they building windmills here? Right. That's what you always kind of thought growing up. And, you know, but, his mom, you know, we were talking about that a lot. And she's like, her response was, well, she's known about this stuff before, and we've talked about it, and it's come and gone. It's nothing new, you know, but she just repeated something. I think that's what a lot of people do. And they just said, those windmills, you know, I heard they're just not all cracked up to what they're supposed to be, you know, not all what they're supposed to cracked up to be, you know, you're like, I was like, what does that mean? Like,
literally, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
She's like, all of a sudden, out of
just doubt.
Nowhere, she's concerned about migratory patterns of birds.
Like, and I'll say that, I'm like, what are you, an environmentalist now?
Right,
you know, like 10 minutes ago, we're the complete opposite, you know?
Yeah, like, drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
But don't put a windmill where birds fly.
No. And there's people like that up there that are for it, because if they're a farmer, you know, you get money.
Oh,
and then some people are just like, I hate it, you know, I can't have this shit, whatever, you know? And, you know, we did an episode kind of talking about what energy wants, and someone sent us, they had made their own video, and it was like a kind of a case against it. And it was actually good, where it was like, they need rules and restrictions for where they can put it. And that was it. And they were like, I was like, fine, there's plenty of open space out there. But they had like, you know, like, say in the house we're in, the light comes in the window, and it was like, they were right next to one. So it was like, the whole house was in shadow. Light, shadow, light from the windmill. I'm like, okay, I get that. Like, I'd be annoyed.
That's pretty good.
I was like, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, that's a good other side, I guess.
Living next to like a power substation or something like here in the city, 30th and Western, there's a huge substation right there. But also, that's a really increasingly desirable neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Right? Well, are people gonna move into 30th and Western and be like, there's a fucking power substation right here next to me.
It's gonna give me cancer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, congratulations. Poor people been getting cancer right there for decades.
Just on their own, yeah.
But you, absolutely. Now that you bring it up,
that is a concern.
Hi, fucking, like, Blair Humphreys or some other rich asshole in town. Like, you're right. We'll change it for you.
Dude, it would probably be moved out of there like that, you know?
Oh, yeah, and that's...
Like, we need that gone.
That's not in Ward 6, so I can speak freely about how... Fuck them.
Fuck them. Talk a little bit about that. Like, I actually didn't know that you were even married to Jo Beth. Like, when I talked to you, you messaged me about one of the episodes we did talking about the news, and I was bringing up Cornell West, and you sent me that picture, and I was like, oh, hey, he knows her. Because I'm just not on Twitter a lot.
Oh, how about it?
You know? And through watching on Twitter, I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, you're married to her, obviously.
She and I met about 8 years ago, probably. Matter of fact, we met not in the context of dating. I was married at the time. Now, let me be very clear. I did not leave my wife for Jo Beth.
Before any controvery.
Just want to lay that out. My marriage was in shambles, as many marriages are.
Sure.
But I met Jo Beth when I was still... So my ex-wife and I were a band called Head Cabinets. We were enjoying some popularity in central Oklahoma and broadly in the Midwest. Like, we toured a few times. But being good at playing songs together is not the same as being good at married to each other.
Sometimes that isn't even a great relationship, you know?
Oh boy.
I've been in bands, so you're like, oh,
yeah. For real. But, I moved out, like, we were on our way to divorce, and, I started dating Jo Beth. I met her at the coffee shop that I used to run, and so we started dating. That was 7+ years ago when we started dating. And I would say, likewise, my ex-wife, Morgan, God bless her. May she rest in peace. No, she's still alive as far as I know. But she and her husband, Sly, started dating around the same time. So I think that's significant that we are both with partners that we started dating at the end of our
kind of naturally coalesced.
Yes, our our relationship from first date to divorce was almost exactly 3 years and 6 months. But twice that now for our subsequent partners, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like we had a trial run of how to do this the worst way. And then let's do it. Yeah. So I don't like that. And I'm divorced.
Yeah.
Now here's Jo Beth. And we've been together 7 years. But
do you find yourself like, oh, I can't speak about this because my wife is, you got to watch your P's and Q's in a way,
So I am...
Especially you being you, that I've noticed.
Exactly. Like, I swear a lot.
Sure.
And I swear a lot on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one, before I got started with OKC-SPAN, please follow me on Twitter.
Oh yeah, we're going to plug it.
I was going to meetings anyway, and I was at one meeting where we had an item that came up about sort of a amnesty program for tickets, for misdemeanor tickets with the city. That's traffic tickets, littering, loitering. Small shit.
It's a misdemeanor.
Yeah, exactly. All of them less than $1,000 probably. And one, I'm not going to say who it was because I don't want to incriminate, but one specific counselor who I typically don't have that much beef with. I don't care about him, but he's not my natural enemy, like, say, Ward 5 City Councilor David Greenwell, who I would invite to go and fuck himself.
So this other person's neutral.
Yeah, it's just another person on the body. But Jo Beth, who is, to clarify, the city councilor representing Ward 6, which is where we're sitting right now. Mm-hmm. That's where, obviously, where Jo Beth and I live as well as Ward 6. But she explained that there are a lot of barriers, natural and artificial barriers, for people to sort of manage these fines and fees that they might get from a municipal ticket. And one of them that two of them specifically she mentioned were obviously homelessness and mental illness. Well, this one city councilor said, well, how will we tell the difference between who is homeless and mentally ill versus who is just lazy?
Game in the system.
Oh, man, he made me so goddamn mad. And I was live tweeting that meeting, and I said, it's not about laziness, it's about ability to pay, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I called him motherfucker on Twitter. Well, after that meeting, Mayor Holt was just chilling out in the hallway waiting for Jo Beth to finish a meeting, and he came in and he talked to her about me. I got in trouble.
You bet, son.
Well, yeah, he talked to her, and when she got home that afternoon, she said, she told me about that, and I immediately tweeted, if you got a problem with something I say on Twitter, I want you to know only one person has the password to that Twitter account, and that's me. That's not Jo Beth.
Yeah.
And I mean, seconds later, the mayor sent me a message just like, Marty, I'm not interested in censoring you, nor do I think you could be censored, blah, blah, blah. And he ultimately said, he was talking about, I was trying to, and I get it, he was trying to build a collegial atmosphere among the counselors, and he wants civility. And I was like, well, civility starts with not acting like poor people are fucking ne'er-do-wells. So I don't give a shit. He was uncivil to start, right? Is what I told him. I don't think I threw that F word in there, but he said, I just want you to remember, like it or not, you represent Jo Beth. And I was like, hard disagree. I voted for Jo Beth. She did not vote for me. So she literally represents me.
Yeah.
We're married, but
sure. But it's like, it plays into like, oh, what is everyone going to think? And what,
sure.
That whole dance.
And I do. And I mean, you follow me on Twitter on both accounts. You know how I am. This is me.
Yeah.
Censoring myself.
Yeah. That's the first thing I said to you. I'm like, that's the best thing, man. Because, somebody would be like, it's just some person on Twitter or a troll probably, and they're like, well, actually, and you're like, well, actually, and go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's great,
My personal Twitter philosophy is to respond in kind. Like, when I first started, this dumb Sammy Sosa is from Oklahoma City. That's when I blew up on Oklahoma City Twitter. Just one night I was like, the Sosa neighbor of Oklahoma City neighborhood of Oklahoma City is named after Sammy Sosa. He was born at St. Anthony's Hospital, and he grew up in the neighborhood immediately south of St. Anthony's, which is what Sosa stands for, is south of St. Anthony's.
Okay.
But I was saying that Sammy Sosa grew up there. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But immediately people were like, actually, that's not the case. And I was like, actually, it is the case.
Yeah.
So, like, Steve Lackmeyer, reporter for the Oklahoman, he retweeted it with no. And I said, actually, yes. And, like, that's how I went about responding to anybody who said anything about it. It was just like, if they said that's not true, I would say, it is true.
Yeah.
If they said he was born in the Dominican Republic, I would say he was actually born at St. Anthony's in Oklahoma City. And he grew up in just that, you know, what's your tone? Because what I said is stupid.
Yeah.
It's prima facie, it is absurd.
Yeah.
And if your inclination is to argue with that, I'm your huckleberry.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Come in. I'll be your host.
Yes,
Let's have a good time. Yeah.
You wanna talk about that?
Yeah.
I'm here for it. And like my goal has been to get people to just fucking block me after I resoundingly say no sense shall be spoken here.
Yeah.
You know? And it's the same thing with, well, I got blocked on Twitter.
Or you were in Twitter jail, right?
Yeah. Worst fucking day of my life.
Yeah.
All I got's Twitter.
Yeah. You're like, please.
But this guy, I didn't even talk that much shit, honestly, but it was after a MAPS meeting and I said some shit about us paying for a stadium. And he was like, we agreed to give money to homeless, which you can always tell. If somebody says homeless versus the homeless or people who are experiencing homelessness, which is the best way to talk about that, by the way, or homeless people, they go, homeless. Yeah. Like, well, you go fuck yourself already. Let me start there. But he said, we give this much to homeless, whatever, mental illness, whatever. And he goes, but sure, let's complain about a business that brings billions and billions, he said, of tax dollars. And I was like, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. How many billions of tax dollars? If so...
so many billions, they're tripping over it, you know?
Yeah,
like, Jesus.
Stacks of goddamn dollar bills because everybody buys their Thunder tickets with cash.
Yeah.
We've got to find a way to launder that shit. We need to, maybe
that's why they're wanting to put so many fucking restaurants in that stadium. You know what I mean? Like not everyone's into sports, you know? Yeah. And I get that. I'm into it, but, you know, it comes and goes.
And I love basketball.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I do. But what I don't love is building a goddamn stadium for millionaires.
Yeah. And not just that, like, you know, I watched that proposal and it was like, okay, you know, we got this space here and, you know, they can buy some stuff to eat, but you know what there really isn't? It's like some places to sit down and enjoy that. So we want to put a restaurant here. Now let's go to the second level. What's going on in the second level here? Well, you know, they can get something to eat, but they can't sit down right here. So let's have another restaurant. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like,
you go to a basketball game to sit outside?
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
That, and you know, I mean, it was also like so many millions for like a new scoreboard. I'm like, is it
they can go
that bad
themselves.
off?
They can. Oh, I can't say this strongly enough.
They need to stay competitive.
They can go fuck themselves.
I get it. You know,
I went to a Trailblazers game a couple of years ago, and we were not in the nosebleeds, but we were up high.
Like Loud City, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
Whatever.
Similar. Similar, like at the lower end of Loud City.
Okay.
We had pretty good seats. My friend's a tattoo artist, and he took me, and he's got season tickets. So I was like,
sure.
They were nice seats, but they weren't down on the floor or anything.
Yeah.
But every time I go to get us a beer, I was like, there are just people hanging out here. I'm like, you could do this at a bar for a tenth of the cost.
And they've got they're probably like drinking and like watching the game on the TV, which they could
fuck them.
do at a bar.
What
right?
are you doing?
Yeah. Or, you know what they really need? They need to sit down and come over here. I mean, I was just like, you just want 3 restaurants.
Yeah.
You know, and some loading bays and bullshit like that.
Yeah.
You know? I get that, whatever, but.
Whatever. With Tom Anderson is with the city. He's the one who gave that presentation at MAPS, and he said, enjoy the view. Watch the streetcar go by.
Yeah, he was the same guy that was I mean, shit, we could have asked for more.
Yeah.
You know, all right.
That was his argument.
You're probably right.
It was like, well, we could have asked for $50 million.
Yeah, fuck it. You know, let's put Christmas lights everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I don't give a shit. You know? It's just crazy.
Jesus. Well,
and plenty of people have pointed out the amount of money versus, you know,
they can
other
go
things
fuck themselves
like that,
too.
but.
Everybody. Hey, everybody. Brad, you, me, we can all go fuck ourselves. But, I told this guy on the internet, I was like, yeah, let's complain about it. And then he said something like, for your sake, I hope you don't spend your time doing this. And I was like, well, for your sake, I hope you fucking die in a car crash.
Absolutely do, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Come on.
I hope your family celebrates the end of their relationship with you. That's one thing I said.
Just cut ties.
Yeah. And I said, I hope they bury you face down with your ass sticking out of the ground. So I got a place to park my bike.
There you go.
Twitter suspended me for a whole goddamn day.
That was what got you in Twitter jail.
Yeah, that's what got me in jail. It was the worst day. I really was on my other Twitter account, just like a fucking fiend.
How do
just
I do this? How can I get across the channel?
I need it. I need Twitter. It fucked me up.
Do you get a lot of a beef for doing what you do? There's a lot of support, obviously.
Tons of support.
Which I guess we should enumerate. You go to city council meetings.
Correct.
But it's not just city council meetings. It's all sorts of stuff.
I go to public meetings of city and county government in Oklahoma City and Oklahoma County. Mm-hmm. I don't go to all of them, but I go to a lot of them.
Majority.
I go to, honestly, not even the majority, because there are so many subcommittees. I went to one this week, what was it, Monday morning, I believe, that was the tax roll committee for the county. What a fucking waste of time. And that meeting was
it's a waste of time for them being there, you know?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That meeting lasted, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I was there early. So I was there for more than twice the time that the meeting lasted. Matter of fact, my friend Nate, I was tweeting it, and Nate said, when the Twitter feed, the thread is short enough to fit on a t-shirt. And that's really, I was just like, lol, they adjourned.
Why do you even fucking do this?
Well, and I would say that my county commissioner, my representative on that body is Carrie Bloomert. And so for the tax roll committee, the current chair of the county commission, the board of county commissioners, that's who sits on that board. And so this was her first time going to that meeting. And she told me the day before, oh, you should go to this. It's my first time going. And I got there before her. and I stayed after she left.
Yeah.
But I felt like she punked me. But she got punked worse because she has to keep going to that, and I will never go to that meeting again. It was very boring.
So did you just when did you start doing this? Like going to?
Okay.
Did you I think I saw you say something like you lived in Chicago and you did it there as well, but not
in Chicago. I went to meetings as I needed to. I was an activist and I was a worker. In Chicago.
You just always naturally do that? Like you said, you're from Shawnee. Like, have you just always been?
I've always, not always engaged with local politics, but pretty engaged.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid.
Like, you know what's going on?
Try to.
Yeah.
Try to. And there's so much going on that, like, we're all aware of the coming presidential election, right?
Sure.
If you're a Republican or a Democrat, you know that Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Joe Biden are running for president. If you're a Democrat, you probably know Kamala Harris, maybe Julian Castro, maybe Amy Klobuchar,
maybe Beto.
Maybe, probably Beto because he's really charismatic.
Yeah. He's
probably
had more, I mean, he got more popular just off his Senate run than I think now, sadly.
I wish that motherfucker would just run for Senate.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Because on a national level, I think he's garbage.
Yeah,
I would
agree.
Texas?
Oh, yeah.
Hell fucking yes. Yeah. Run for Senate. I would say the same for everybody in that field, with the exception of Kamala Harris. I want her to retire and to spend the rest of her life doing justice work and really examining how much damage she's done to...
Being like a prosecutor, right?
Yeah. How much damage she's done to black people in California.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has not persecuted black people for years in California.
Yeah, I've seen some. You're just like, some of the stories. You're like, Jesus.
Yeah,
like, why
fucking
would
jailing a
this?
parent whose kid is truant? That's not going to improve that child's life.
Yeah,
certainly.
It's always about the stick in that field,
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Absolutely. Man, that's a whole conversation to me. Is like what we do with prosecution. What's the role of a district attorney?
Yeah. Just
like
kind of like the people. Sometimes you're kind of like the county sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, you could get away with this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, because it's just like, well, it's your fucking opinion,
Yeah, H.L. Mencken said that government is brokerage and pillage, right? Like, the purpose of government is to decide who gets to rob whom, right?
Yeah.
And that's what county government looks like across the country.
Yeah, not just here.
Not just here.
I mean, it ebbs and flows, and it's better in some places and worse in others.
And I would say in Oklahoma County, we have more eyes on county government than we do in Pottawatomie County, Seminole County.
Of course.
Crooked-ass places.
Yeah.
Lincoln County, whatever. But still, like, I go to these county meetings, and I'm like, this stinks of cronyism. And this is the best version of Oklahoma County government that we've ever had.
Yeah, it's been worse.
Oh.
Yeah, way
goodness.
worse.
Way.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we have a sitting commissioner who has been, if is not currently, being investigated for corruption. Like, and he's nice. I like him, basically.
Like, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. Brian, listen, Brian. If you're listening to this, plug your ears up for a second. There's no fucking way I would ever vote for Brian Mon.
Okay.
It wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
He's super duper like pro-ICE being in the county jail.
Yeah.
Which is garbage to me.
Yeah. They don't have to be there.
No.
I read the statute that they use.
The statute says reasonable effort to establish identity.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
It means
what's your name?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried.
I'll tell you what.
Or I can, bring in ICE and,
sure.
put some people in a headlock and be like, where are you from?
Well, yeah, motherfucker.
Start breaking out the Batman voice and like,
I am ICE. Yeah.
Are you an illegal? Yeah.
Exactly. And illegal.
Yeah.
Is how they, we fucking stole this place. I'm illegal. It doesn't make sense. Whatever. Don't trip over my soapbox or whatever. But so yeah, that's why I think what I do is valuable, if I'm honest. I go to these meetings because I can, and most people can't. And I've gotten familiar enough with the players and the processes that I can say, this is kind of a weird thing that happened today.
Yeah, you can give a little insight.
Yeah, I talked about on the podcast, first episode, about the muffin monster at the jail. Yeah, fucking
I was like, I did not know that existed.
Yeah.
I'm like, makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, no, you need it.
Yeah.
A hospital needs it, a hotel needs it. Fortunately, we don't sit around thinking about our sewage that much.
Yeah.
But that was that was a sole source contract. Well, we don't do those very often at all on a county or a city level. And so it's always worth examining why it happens when the county or the city says, we are going to agree to only use one company for parts and services for whatever equipment or service or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, as I said on the podcast, a muffin monster is a really particular, specific piece of equipment, right? Yeah. And so I want an expert working on that.
Yeah.
So if that's a maintenance person from the company who built, it's so stupid to keep saying muffin monster, but
it is what it is.
Yeah. So if that's a service person from the company who built that piece of equipment, we need it to not break down, and everything else at the jail breaks down all the goddamn time. Mm-hmm. So I'm fine with that. But I think it's worth taking a look at when anytime the city or the county or the state agrees to a contract with anybody. I would say, for example, healthcare at the county jail is contracted to a company called Turnkey Health.
Okay.
Well, turns out that the owner, one of the founders and owners of Turnkey Health, is a sitting state representative. Not just a sitting state representative, he is the leader of the House Republican caucus in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
John Eccles. He's one of the owners of the company. He makes money from people who are sick in our county jail, and not just ours, lots of jails and prisons around the region. So
that's the first thing I thought of when you brought up like that contract, especially being from a small town. There's only so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes only so many businesses.
Mm-hmm.
It just works out that way.
Right.
But nepotism.
Yeah.
Of some sort. Like, oh, well, he's my brother and he runs a business, or like you said, maybe that person happens to be a state representative.
Oh,
whoops. That's just a coincidence.
It's a coincidence.
Total coincidence.
And
what's he supposed to do?
And
not exist?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the argument for it.
Mr. Eccles, the Honorable Mr. Eccles, has worked on some criminal justice reform stuff, partnering with fellow Republican Democratic Representative Jason Dunnington. He's a fucking Republican.
Yeah.
He can put a D in front of his name, but he's an oil and gas man who,
sure.
whatever.
Okay.
But they've worked on some criminal justice reform stuff together. And that's good. Like, we need that. We need better, and we need more. Eccles is not invested in unjailing people, right?
Well, the last episode I did talking to Stephen Holman, he was talking like these people are like, and have been, spent their careers, like, not just against it, fighting it.
Yeah.
Whether they're suddenly just going to turn a 180,
Exactly. Right.
I guess what, I just had a change of heart, and we went to the church on Sunday, and the Lord told us, you know what, you need to
that's
look
not
at your
where
ways.
They're going to hear it, is it?
I wish that would happen, really.
I would say former governor of the state of Illinois, where I used to live. I love having the sound of that beer cracking open.
Hey,
that's
something good's about to happen.
Here you go.
Cheers.
Former governor of Illinois, George Ryan.
I was so hoping it was going to be Blagojevich.
Oh, I'll get to Blagojevich. Rod the Bod.
Yeah.
George Ryan, on his way out of office, commuted the sentence of every person on death row in Illinois.
Wow.
And he quoted, I can't remember, the former Chief Justice, I can't remember his name, but he said, "I shall no longer tinker with the machinery of death." And he commuted the sentence of everybody on death row.
Was this on his way out?
Yeah. This was after the election, when Rod Blagojevich was elected. George Ryan was a Republican. Blagojevich, the incoming Democrat, was like, "How dare he? That's my decision to make."
Yeah. Still my thunder, I guess.
Yeah, but George Ryan let people die under his watch. He didn't stop it.
Yeah.
He just, at the end, he was like, well, now
I've got
some
power.
chutzpah. Yeah, exactly. Well, Blagojevich lived in my neighborhood. We were neighbors by like 2 blocks in Chicago. I would wander by and I'd see him jogging all the time. Fucking haircut, this guy. But one time I saw him cooling down right after getting elected. It's the earliest nice days in spring. And he was cooling down from a run. I walked by and I just looked up and saw him. And he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "Pretty good, Governor." I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
His father-in-law was long-time, deeply, corruptly entrenched Alderman Gene Mell. And Gene was my alderman. He would come by my apartment probably 4 or 5 times a year and knock on my door and see if everything was okay. Do I need any more like poly carts for the trash out back? You know? What's your landlord like? Is he treating you fair? What's going on? That kind of shit. But definitely, like, if stray cats are an issue, make sure you vote for me in November or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Gene Mel was corrupt as fuck, and his daughter, not Rod Blagojevich's estranged wife, but another daughter, essentially took over for him. Like, he vacated his seat midterm so that there would be a way to just place her in his seat. Yeah. And she did a term, and then recently an election, socialist won that seat, which was dope. And like, what do you call when you lose? You give a
concession speech.
Concession. Yeah. Her concession was really good, actually. Like, she was just like, you know, I was doing this because I have a love for public service that I learned from my father, but the people have spoken, and this is who they want to represent them. And, like, it was actually good.
Yeah.
And so now we have a Democratic Socialist representing my old boy.
That's the thing with, like, concession speeches sometimes. You're like, why couldn't you just, like, have been like that the whole time?
Fucking don't run!
Yeah. Like, I don't get it.
I agree. I was thinking about it today. I was just thinking back on when Jo Beth won her seat. That both of the wealthy white men that she roundly defeated called her that night. And I thought, what's that feel like? What an interesting
dynamic.
And not a bad thing, but like, what an interesting tradition that we have where I'm like, I lost, and so that's not enough. I've actually got to take my hat off,
hat in hand,
and call you and say,
"Good game," basically.
You won.
Yeah,
I lost. I'm here saying I lost. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I only spent $1 million. You know.
Whoops.
Yeah. She had two opponents, but one of them was a legitimate opponent, and he raised,
bukus?
Oh, like 1,000% more money than she did. Like, she raised, like, I don't know, close to 2,000. He raised close to 200,000.
Jesus.
Yeah!
Yeah, it's just like...
And guess what?
Yeah,
you
didn't
lost.
fucking win. Yeah, fuck him.
I wonder where that campaign money is now.
He's like, is this tax deductible? Please.
It was for the people who donated, I guess.
Yeah. Fuck, man, that's a lot of money.
Jo Beth's donors, the average was around $60, which is significant to know that
that's actually pretty high.
One person maxed out to her.
Wow.
So that threw off her average. One person gave her $2,500.
Okay.
And so her donors were more in the $10 to $25 range for the most part.
Yeah.
But she did it. You know what I mean? She didn't win on advertising. She won on going out and knocking on doors and on merit. Oh yeah, she's a good candidate. That's why people care about homelessness. People care about mental health. People care about transit. And she changed the conversation in that race. Yeah. She really did. She steered it toward that so that the other two people running started talking about homelessness, transit, and mental health. That was her doing. And everybody saw that. They knew, these guys, whatever's good about them or not, they are playing catch up ideologically the entire campaign, trying to catch up with where Jo Beth started.
Yeah.
So So she won. I mean, she didn't win by default. She won it,
Yeah.
And I couldn't be prouder of her, honestly. Like I said, the least journalistic thing about me is I fucking love my spouse.
Yeah. I'm
and
sorry.
I think
you're going to be biased.
Yeah, she's the best person that I've ever known.
Yeah.
And the most fit to serve in public office of anybody who I know to exist. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like she got, after she won, she got a donation from the firefighters union. And she's like, well, I'll take it. Doesn't mean I'm out here now on behalf of the firefighters union.
Yeah.
I think, let me leave it at that. I started to speculate about other unions. We're pro-union. So we were pro-union before. AFL-CIO endorsed Jo Beth. They canvassed for her. That's who we are. Both of us, is person-centered.
That's kind of why I asked you, like your side of it. Because, there's things I would rather just ask her. I don't want you to speak for her.
Right.
Type of thing, But you were talking earlier about having to, in a way, speak for her sometimes just because, well, you're married to her.
Right.
Like, that's just natural. And people are going to think certain things if you say something.
Yeah. As it turns out, I am her constituent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's not how everybody...
Sure.
Everybody's...
Well, it's the same, there's a, look at what we were just talking about, where some people are like, well, I'm this guy's brother. Can I, milk these people? Because he runs a business just naturally,
Right.
Yeah. I get it. People are related to each other. People are married to each other. People are friends with each other,
Right.
It's like they're gaming the system, though.
Right. Yeah,
Not that you're gaming the system or anything.
Well, no, and I'm not. I think that's...
But you're upfront about your biases. That's the whole point.
Right.
That's the difference between
when
people kind of putting a mask on and playing like it's no big deal,
Exactly right. Like when I'm covering local politics, I don't cover things that Jo Beth is in a fight with somebody else. I don't cover that. I might mention it in an article.
You sort of recuse yourself,
Basically, because that's appropriate, right?
Yeah. Impartiality.
But I definitely am upfront on OKC-SPAN. I'm upfront about the fact that, you're getting heavily editorialized content, but much like a movie reviewer, right? Like, I used to love reading Roger Ebert's reviews of movies.
Yeah. Sometimes you hate him for it.
Right. I know what he likes, and I know what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
And I know where I disagree with him.
Yeah. It's up to you to feel how you feel about it.
Exactly. Same with Phil Bacharach here in town at the Gazette. I know what you like. I know what I like. And when you don't like something and you say why, I get it. And I know, I'd probably still like that. Yeah. Right? That's how I see what I do on OKC-SPAN is that I'm saying, here's literally what happened. And underneath that is my take on what that situation was. Like, Greenwell wants this. I don't like Greenwell. And so...
Not only that, I don't like this proposal either.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll even say, at this point, I think Jo Beth could introduce a hard right property rights ordinance of some sort that would be right up Greenwell's alley, and he would make his smug fucking I smelled a fart face and say, I'm just not sure that this is appropriate for us as a city council.
That's a pretty good impersonation.
Thank you. But, same for me. Like, if he got up there and he was like, I propose we ban all guns, I'd be like, this fucking guy here, what's he up to? But I'm pretty upfront about having those feelings, I think. As I said, the mayor, I got in trouble with the mayor because I called not Greenwell, but a different city councilor a motherfucker. And he was like, let's don't do that. And I was like,
slap on the wrist.
Let's.
Yeah, why not?
I like the mayor on a personal level. Let me just throw that in. That
he's very likable.
He's very good at politics. He's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about some local weirdo made, like, on a meme generator, made memes of Jo Beth that said jittery Jo Beth.
Oh, yeah, I did see those, yeah.
Carrie Bloomer, county commissioner, said, commie loving Carrie. And I would say, I believe that she does love me. So it's not inaccurate. But the mayor said simply pajama boy. And Carrie told the mayor that he should take a picture in his office, holding a mug of hot chocolate in pajamas,
having a sleepover.
And the mayor said, "We'll call it Naps 4."
Oh,
pretty good. Pretty good.
You can tell he has, he knows how to work a room.
Yeah, he does. He's good at politics, right? I didn't vote for him for mayor, and I won't. Okay. Tell him I said so. Anyway, no, he doesn't need me to vote for him. He
did just fine, I guess.
Yeah, I was working from before 7 o'clock until after 7 o'clock that day. So I didn't have an option one way or the other. But no, he's okay. And I know where he's coming from when he says something, and I don't like it, and I'll say I don't like it.
Yeah.
And if I like it, I'll say so.
Yeah.
He did send me a text during one meeting to correct me on something I had tweeted. He was like actually, Brad Henry lives in Oklahoma City, and I was like, I kind of thought he lived in Edmond, and he says, I think he lives in the part of Oklahoma City with an Edmond address. And I was like, so literally
there are plenty
Edmond.
of them, trust me, yeah. I'm like, okay, dealing with the business, like I have different pricing for different areas, and they're like, hey, I live in Edmond, but my kid goes to school over here. Can I get the people are wanting to game that system as much as they can. Oh, yeah, I'm from Oklahoma City. I live out in El Reno.
Right,
actually,
right.
You're like, okay, technically.
I'm from Holdenville.
Yeah.
That's where I was born. Can I get a Holdenville price for living in downtown Oklahoma City?
It's just like, no, you can't.
No, you can't.
Like, you technically don't live there.
No, I think the mayor is okay. I don't think...
Does he have a lot of power, like in the system?
It's a weak mayor system. Yeah. The city manager really has the power in our city.
Okay.
And there are 9 other people to balance that, right? Mm-hmm. There's the mayor and 8 city councilors that balance against the strong city manager. But I'll tell you what, Craig Freeman, who, let me just throw this in, does not live in Oklahoma City.
Where does he live?
Yukon.
Ah, see. Another one of those places, yeah.
Fucked up. Bothers me.
Great place out there.
Oh.
Great neighborhoods.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Lovely.
Go be the goddamn city manager of Yukon.
Yeah.
Why are you running my town?
Yeah.
I live here.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
Sure.
We need to have, Chicago had an ordinance. If you worked for the city of Chicago, you had to live in Chicago. School teacher, mayor, mayor's cabinet, city councilor, fucking garbage collector, Parks and Rec,
dog catcher,
whatever.
Yeah.
They all, and you would see neighborhoods, nice neighborhoods at the borders of the city, but like this is a garbage collector's neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's a good job, by the way. That is around $75,000 a year job. Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
We need them.
Yeah.
We need them.
Yeah.
We need them. We don't need cops. We need garbage collectors.
Sure. Yeah.
But we're Americans. We consume.
That's right. It's got to go somewhere, buddy. Yeah.
But yeah, you'd see firefighter neighborhoods, cop neighborhoods, garbage collector neighborhoods. Sure. But we don't have that ordinance here, and we tried to pass it probably, I'm going to say about 8 years ago.
Nope.
Right out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Wow.
Because our city encompasses at least five other cities. I mean, we're talking the Village, Nichols Hills, Bethany, Yukon, Mustang, all of those. I wanted to say Toluca. That's right. The something lake up northeast.
Oh, I know Arcadia is up there, but that's
Edmond. It's like Toluca Lake or so.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. Why would I go up there?
There's Google Maps.
Fucking might as well be Tulsa to me.
Yeah, but it's in fucking Oklahoma City.
Inside Oklahoma City.
There's places that come down almost to where I live, east of Norman.
Yes.
You know? You're just like, what the fuck?
Oklahoma City is in Oklahoma County, Pottawatomie County, Cleveland County, and Canadian County. Like, we're in all of those counties. But also, there are huge parts of Oklahoma County that are not incorporated. But our city is 622 plus square miles.
Yeah.
We are the second biggest city.
Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, Florida is exactly right. It's the only one that's bigger. We're bigger than Dallas.
Yeah.
And think about when you have to drive through Texas, which, God bless you, what a fucking miserable experience it is to go through Texas at all. But this is bigger than Dallas. It's about the same size as Dallas-Fort Worth, like, as that metroplex.
Sure.
Like, it's so big. But we got 8 people who represent the parts of the city. Yeah.
I mean, dick all for transit.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah. Why would you need a bus to get to the airport?
Yeah, I know. Like, just take a taxi.
It's the dumbest thing about our city. And
yeah.
I love Oklahoma City. This is home. I'm not leaving. I'm staying. I'm fighting for it. The dumbest thing about our very dumb city is that we don't have a bus that goes to and from the goddamn airport.
It could go slowly.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Just go there. You know, right? Yeah.
Wouldn't you take the bus?
Yeah.
Instead of...
You gotta pay for parking, right?
Yeah.
Airport.
Or get somebody to wake up at 4 in the goddamn
Dude,
morning.
I've done so many of those trips. Like,
fuck that.
Take to the fucking airport.
Yeah. JoBeth and I take Lyft. We do not take Uber. Let me say, fuck Uber. But we take Lyft and get out there. We have a couple of friends who drive Lyft, and we'll schedule them. Like, hey, can we pay you
specifically
to take us?
Yeah. Okay.
But we take the bus everywhere else. I just why can't we? Why can't we take the bus to the airport? It's so stupid.
Yeah, or, I mean, I know they're somewhat setting this up or something, but like Norman to Edmond, that whole corridor, you know, back and forth. There's people that do both. You know, I live in Edmond, I work in Norman. I live in Norman, I work in Edmond.
Well, we have a bus that connects to Norman, and we have CityLink that goes to Edmond. So,
like all I know is they're setting up some kind of transport authority.
Oh, we're working on.
We're thinking of wanting to do
that's
this.
That's exactly where we are right now with the regional transit authority.
Yeah.
Which brings me to, that's why I was mentioning where Brad Henry lives, because he represents Oklahoma City on the mayor's appointment on the Regional Transit Authority board. He and Mary Maloney, I believe. We're working on a train. We're working on Oregon Trail technology.
Yeah, in 28 days you will be able to get to
right.
Edmond.
Exactly. Yeah, we're like probably by 2035 we'll have trains.
Yeah, that's
that
insane.
can take you from Midwest City to downtown Oklahoma City in about probably an hour.
Yeah.
Such garbage.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's the same thing from like here to Dallas.
Yeah.
You know, there's that Amtrak that runs.
I love the Heartland Flyer.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to Austin once or twice a month, and I would usually take the Heartland Flower. That's a better name. The Heartland Flyer to Fort Worth. And then I'd get on another train and go down to Austin. And that's about 8 hours. And takes 6.5 to drive.
Yeah.
Take that 8 hours. I can drink beers, read a book,
horrible.
And not care.
Yeah.
Like not look anywhere except for into my lap.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
I wish there was more of it because like there's only like 1 or 2 a day. That's it, right?
Yeah. It's not convenient for a day trip. Like if it's an afternoon game at the Rangers, you can take the train and go to that game and get back home.
That's
Otherwise,
about it. You're going to a mall, maybe.
Man. I went to my friend Sarah. I went to visit her. She lives in Dallas. I took the train, and because once I drove down there and I didn't pay any tolls because there's not a toll booth.
Sure.
They send you a bill, and my car is registered to my grandma at my parents' address, and they just didn't occur to them to tell me I got a bill. And so now I'm afraid to drive to Texas. They'll take my car. I took the train down and I got an Uber from the Amtrak station to Galleria Mall. Guess how much? $80.
Jesus. God.
Felt like a fucking idiot. Like it cost the same as my train ticket.
Shit. Yeah.
I'm stupid.
Here you go. Damn.
Yeah, here's all of my money I was going to use to eat and drink while I was down here. Oh well.
I'm here now.
Guess I'll sit and stare at my phone by an outlet in the mall while I wait for my friend. Yeah.
Do you think that's like probably the biggest issue for Oklahoma City? Like low hanging fruit, I guess. Not the biggest issue.
It's certainly
probably
not
like
the
way
biggest
more.
issue.
Yeah.
But it is, you're right, it's probably, if not the lowest hanging fruit, it's among, we can easily do better for transit.
Oh, yeah.
And we are. We've got bus rapid transit coming in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Which will be
new technology, like you said, Wow.
Fucking rubber tire bus. Oh, I know. Let's do that faster. I'm like, whoa! Same with everything. Here's the thing, Brad. Everything good moves slow.
Yeah.
If you get mugged, happens like that.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to pay you $1,000 for some work, it takes hours and hours and hours. Everything good happens slow. But we got bus rapid transit coming, and with its anticipated success, we'll be able to add bus rapid transit to Northeast OKC and to South OKC. We are going to add money to our budget for Embark, which can increase our fleet of buses, and that means more frequent service, and potentially can mean more lines of service. Right now, if you were living in Oklahoma County and experiencing poverty and you've got Medicaid as opposed to no insurance, you'd have to take a bus out to Spencer to get a prescription filled. That ride takes over an hour.
One way?
One way.
Yeah.
And you got to sit out there, and the bus stops running from about noon to 3. So it's your whole day to go and get that prescription filled. You got to get out there in the morning, stand in line, get your prescription. I never sent a client on the bus out there. I would always drive them. I hate driving. It takes a long time to drive out there, too. It takes half an hour. Yeah. Basically going to Shawnee, Oklahoma, you know. But I'm not going to, here, you don't have anything, so pack a lunch and get on the bus. That's
like you would.
Yeah.
Even if you did have something, why the fuck would you do that?
Why would you do it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the county pharmacy will go to Homeless Alliance. They're there twice a week, moving to 3 times a week, which is awesome. Yeah. They've been there Monday and Wednesdays, and starting soon, if not already, they'll be on Fridays too, I believe is what it is. So you can go there and get your prescription filled, but not if you have insurance. And it sucks. Yeah. I hate that. That's just some government bullshit.
Yeah, some rule you can't get around.
Yeah. That they would like to. Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, we have that medicine and we would love to fill your prescription. The medicine's right there. It's 10 feet away from where I am right now, but I can't give it to you. Yeah. You've got to ride a bus
we gotta
for
play
5
the game.
days. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
But here's where we are. Well, and that's another thing that I think that what I'm doing is valuable. Mm-hmm. Like, I have that knowledge, and a lot of people don't, right?
No.
Like, you never heard of that before, right?
No. Well, and I could be someone like in that world and still not know. You know what I mean? Like, really.
Oh, that's what case management for people experiencing homelessness, that's what it is. Yeah. It's just like, hey, let's learn together. And let me just be your stalwart shoulder to lean on while you experience this misery of bureaucracy and red tape. Yeah. That guy Greg that we ran into on our way here.
Yeah.
Something I had to get cleared up for him was that he had a warrant out of Shawnee. Mm-hmm. So happens I'm from Shawnee, and so happens the municipal judge in Shawnee is somebody who I used to work next door to. His office was literally next door to my office years ago. Mm-hmm. We talked about music. We were both folk musicians. We used to talk about music all the time. So I called his office. And he was like, well, Marty, I'm glad you told me who you are. I'll look into this and see what we can do. And then he called me and said, Greg's fines were somewhere in the area of $1,300. Most of those were jail fees for walking in and out of the jail. And he read me the statute that says that a municipal judge has the right to assess or waive those fees at will. And he waived them, and I paid his $213 of fines and was able to house him, right? What the fuck was he going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing community service on those fines when he became homeless. During his lunch break, he wandered off somewhere and explored some empty building and fell and broke his leg. Mm-hmm. Ended up at Baptist and was discharged to the street with a broken leg.
Yeah.
Here in Oklahoma City, 40 miles from home, without a car, without a phone, without anything. Mm-hmm. That's how we met each other.
Yeah.
I know that judge. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's our system. That's our world we live in.
Yeah, that's kind of why, I didn't want to point it out, but the nepotism that we talked about, it's like, of course it's natural.
Right.
But it's kind of like, not even those people that are trying to get away with stuff, and some people, they believe it's okay,
Right.
They're not even trying to lie to you. Some people are totally trying to lie to you,
Right.
But yeah, I think you're right. That's how everything works.
Yeah.
Whether it's politics or business or doing podcasts or whatever,
right.
Yeah, I got a friend of a friend. Hook you up.
It makes me so tired.
And it's like, how do you get around that? You have rules and stuff, like you said, city ordinances. You got to live here.
Break them.
Yeah.
Break them all the fucking way down. We don't need cops. We don't need a jail. What we need is an authority to demand treatment of people whose mental health picture looks like committing a crime.
Yeah.
We need a system of accountability that is community-based, not fucking jail.
Well, it's like you said earlier, how, especially DAs and sheriffs, it's all stick.
Mm-hmm.
The whole system's like that.
Absolutely.
Which, I get there are people that are out there that are ready to game something. I get it.
Not that many.
Not that many, though. Not everybody.
It's way fewer. Way fewer. And I'm classically, and people will take issue with it. I get it. But, I'm classically, I'd rather see a guilty person go free than for an innocent person to be punished.
It's the whole idea of burden of proof. Right?
Exactly. And we fucking ignore it.
Yeah.
We don't care about the burden of proof anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever did.
Yeah.
Certainly not where black and brown persons are concerned.
Yeah.
Certainly not when poor persons are concerned. We are willing to set... I used to work in a law office. Mm-hmm. My neighbor was a defense attorney. And he had a client on trial for beating a baby. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, I think she did it, by the way. Let me just throw that in. Mm-hmm. I think she beat up her baby.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly.
Yeah.
Incredibly fucked up and perverse.
Yeah.
However, they raised reasonable doubt in 3 ways. There was somebody else at home and a chance that she was not at home at the time that this happened. The other person who was at home has in fact done time for physical abuse of a small child.
Yeah.
And, well, those are the 3 things. There was another person. She wasn't home, possibly somebody else was, and that somebody who was at home has in fact done time for causing physical harm to a baby. That jury was out for 20 minutes, came back, said she was guilty.
Yeah.
What's the fucking point?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
If reasonable doubt is what we're looking for, we have more than reasonable doubt. Again, I can sleep at night because I think she did it.
Sure.
That's over and
But the whole system is based on like, well, I hope these jury of our peers or whatever.
of our peers.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. I hope they agree with me.
What if it was 12 people who live outside judging a rich man? Would that be considered fair?
Yeah.
12 people experiencing homelessness? No.
Fuck that.
But you got somebody who's homeless in front of 12 stably housed, annoyed that they are even present middle-class people. It's not a fair system. The whole system is... this whole courtroom is out of order. None of it makes sense. And once you scratch the surface of that, I think it just becomes really apparent that
it's ugly.
not real. Yeah.
Much less like then you get into like, depending on the trial or the case or whatever lawsuit, it's like, it's all settled.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens.
Nothing.
I get into debate sometimes with my co-host because, he brings up a point about something random, like I think the last time it was like intellectual property and that sort of thing. Like, hey, if I wrote a book and I put the name Harry Potter in it, do I immediately get fucking shut down by J.K. Rowling? And I'm like, well, it depends.
By just kidding Rowling.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Just kidding Rowling.
But the whole point is I was like, there's a law on paper. And the paper, it says this, that, and it's got to be done like, but I'm like, that's like your opinion, man.
Right.
Right.
Like this.
Then you get the judge into it. Then you get
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly right.
But and he just like, what? He's like, no, I get that, but like the law. I'm like, they don't fucking care.
They don't care.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna do what they want. Who's got more money than the other side? Like all sorts of that. Comes into play.
Literally make a movie called Mission Impossible 4, and it's a romantic comedy about some dumpy middle-aged ex-hipster and his city councilwoman wife. And legally, that's okay. Financially, it is not. They've got the money to stop me, and I do not have the money to...
Yeah. And who's right? Who's wrong?
It doesn't matter. Literally.
Yeah.
Does not now, nor has it ever mattered.
No.
Ever.
I agree. It's something like I noticed like with the map stuff, and they pull up like this much money for that. Like you do like your stuff you do for like Free Press is called like How the Sausage is Made.
How the Sausage is Made. Yeah. That's because I'm a columnist. I'm not writing straight news when I do that. So that's my column title. Right.
But like, is it How the Sausage gets made? Like sometimes like those city council meetings, like for maps, I saw a lot of presentations.
Yeah.
Okay. And then like all of a sudden like, hey, this is the amount of money that's going here.
Right.
Did that just go into like some kind of committee?
No, those numbers were decided before. Yeah. It was a dog and pony show.
Yes, I know.
I sat there for 30 goddamn hours. I sat there.
But it was the most open that we've ever been before. I'm speaking for Mayor David Holt here.
No. Well, and I'll tell David himself, bullshit. Mm-hmm. This was a dog and pony show. The numbers didn't change from April before the meeting started until June when the meetings ended. The only numbers that changed were the ones I care about.
Yeah.
Homelessness went down. It went down by half, and then they increased it by 10 million. So it's 50 instead of 80 million. Chesapeake didn't go down.
Yeah.
New Stadium went down a little bit, but for show. I mean, even in their presentation, they were like, it's going to be this much. Or we could do a cheaper version, and it's this. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
Was as if to say, we could have gotten 175.
Yeah. Sure, we probably will later.
And in the we will. In the spirit of transparency and disclosure, I'm friends with Bob Funk, like Junior. I'm not the old man.
Yeah,
but
I mean, he like the cool thing about him is like he is at the door every time you're leaving for an energy game. He's like there shaking your hand. Like, fucking thank you for thank you. Like I think he is serious. Like please come back. You know.
Yeah, we went to school together. Like I've known him for nearly 20 years. Like he's a pretty good dude. I do not, and I would tell him, I do not think I should be giving him tax money to build the stadium.
Yeah.
And the utility of that stadium is, we'll see.
It's neat.
Yeah.
You know, like,
if it's
like a lot of that
side,
stuff. You know, like Thunder, like they say they bring in, it was like $90 million. And, you know, like where does that number come from?
Billions is what that dude on my Twitter.
Billions of it's like, who says who? You know, like,
what does
that's
it mean?
That's what I always wonder when I see that. It's like,
and I told JoBeth that as her romantic partner, not, and sort of as her constituent, certainly not as some political advisor, but I told her, I was like, man, I remember when the basketball strike happened, people lost their jobs down in Bricktown.
Yeah.
Like, there was nobody down there. So fuck them. Fuck them. I don't believe that Clay Bittner couldn't pay for that himself.
He totally could.
But here we are. You know?
Just looking at other sports, it always seems to be that they don't want to go there. We don't want to set that precedent of like, oh my God, if we pay for these players' health care, they might ask for something else.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Precisely.
My God,
so.
then what? Then I'd have to pay for that.
Same with kids. Same with fucking everything. That's collective bargaining. Like, we don't pay college kids. That's a multi-million-dollar a year industry.
Yeah.
And we don't pay those kids. That's you know what that's called? Slavery.
Yeah. I mean,
that's it.
I get it. Yeah. But they're going to school, man.
No.
I have so much fun watching like OU games and stuff. And I was like, man, they gotta hurry. I hope this game gets over soon because they gotta hurry.
They got
get back. They gotta study for that test tomorrow.
Yeah, they got class.
They got a paper due, man.
Yeah, they're working on a fucking God. Can you picture? I wish I had a copy of it. I read a paper by a college athlete at Oklahoma Baptist University that was a review of Rob's Ribs, a barbecue place next campus. And it was just like, and talk about a deal? Good prices. Like, it was
guaranteed.
It was so bad and dumb and sweet as pie.
Yeah,
this poor kid is just like, you'll eat so much you wish you could eat some more. Like, it's just so bad.
Of course. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, it's a so fucked up system, man. Just.
No, it's literally like I don't go to Chick-fil-A. You know why? I don't eat meat. That's why.
That's really easy for there.
If I ate chicken, I would stop going to Chick-fil-A because they're horrible monsters.
Yeah.
But instead, I don't go there because I've never gone there.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy football very much. Also, college football is slavery, and professional football blackballed somebody because of their opinions.
Yeah.
So, I'm not...
And he wasn't the only one. You know, like, you know what I mean?
No.
Like there was, I mean, I had to get like really deep into football or anything, but like like just sometimes if they're crazy enough and they don't want to deal with it, just push it out.
What AJ just, or AD who just left was, he's problematic, but same thing. Like, I just don't need it in my life, so I don't miss it. If the Bears are really good this year, I'll be like a little bummed that I'm not watching.
All right.
But that's it.
Yeah.
It's
just entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's fucked up about it, you know? Especially, like, milking these kids for all it's worth. You know? It's college basketball, too.
All NCAA sports.
You know? Yeah, of course,
more for basketball than I would.
Yeah.
Well, maybe less in the sense that you got like Sam Bradford from OU, right? He was debating like leave school a year early and go get paid or stay another year. And he stayed another year. And
that was like a different system too. Like he was the last one to get like a huge upfront contract payday.
Yeah.
And they changed all that after him because they were like, man, you know, which I could get, you know, like from a team sport where like, hey, I don't want to like overpay for some dipshit who's just going to not do anything because that happens.
But fuck that. Like, why? Who are you going to pay
I agree. Like, shouldn't you get paid for like your expectations? Like that's what you're wanting.
Yeah, you want me there.
Yeah.
Fucking pay to bring me there.
Yeah.
Well, he stayed for an extra year, right? He stayed for his senior year, right?
Yeah, that's right. And he got like hurt the first game or some shit.
And that was my thing is like, go take that. I don't care if it's $1 million and that's it.
Yeah.
You break your leg, you got nothing. Come back to school, finish school.
Yeah.
Learn to be a fucking plumber. I don't care, but you got $1 million to pay for that.
Oh, there's a corner down in Norman that's like, I call it like the Sam Bradford corner. Because he went and he got that contract from the Rams. It was like $50 million guaranteed. And he popped $1 million or $2 million right there. And it used to be like a gas station and some corner stores and stuff. And it turned into a big dormitory because he donated a bunch of money. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah.
I must have been in his contract with the college, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that my other podcast that is not OKC-SPAN is called On Our Campus, and it is about corruption.
Yeah.
Specifically, first season is about OU. And I would encourage you and anybody listening, feds, to check that out. But higher education in general, maybe, best case scenario, maybe it used to be about enriching communities by giving opportunities to people.
That's what's told to every kid, right? You know, like, hey, it's a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, you need to do it. You have to do it.
At this point...
I went to the University of Oklahoma for a while.
Did you?
Yeah,
at this point, I think at best, it's a union dues card without the weight of the union behind you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're just kind of thrown out after you're done.
Yeah. And if you're scared of debt, go to more school.
Yeah.
That's it.
Maybe you'll get out of, get paid more later someday.
Maybe. Yeah. Or maybe you can die still in school.
It's a quote, like, there's that, he's credited being like a leftist economist, but he was like back in the day, like in the 30s, Keynes.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
The best quote I love from him is like, in the end, we're all dead.
Yes.
He's like, why not worry, why not worry about this now?
Right.
Like that's like there's so many arguments that get pulled into that where it's like, like we can't do this because, down the line, the grandkids are going to have to pay for it. Like the problem's now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we deal with that? Like, please?
Right. Somebody, I think it was Biden the other night during the debate, said something about 100-year plan, and I was like,
who the fuck cares?
It's fucking adorable, you old ass fuck. Like, 100 years from now, we're probably all dead.
Yeah.
Literally.
And like, isn't that some of our, like, you brought up climate change when we started, like, that's kind of our problem. You know, like we can't wrap our head around that.
Exactly.
And he's going to trot that out as like hey, everybody.
He's like,
I'm going to be president for hopefully 4 years.
Yeah. And he's
Here's my 100-year fucking plan. Okay.
He's like drinking out of a plastic water bottle as he's saying it.
Throwing it into the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Mercury is actually good.
Even if it is in retrograde. So like your podcast, like talking about OU corruption, is it like just OU corruption, or are you focused on one point of OU corruption? There's probably many points,
right.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus,
sadly,
that's exactly right. This season, we are talking about Boren and the Board of Regents.
Yeah,
Rinzai Stone in particular. I'm talking about Jim Gallagly. We're talking about Harris, who is the maybe temporary president. We're talking about Kyle Harper, the provost. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, we have ideas for seasons to come, but gosh, it could take us 10 years
between
to just talk
here
about
and now,
this shit.
What could happen,
Yeah.
There's so many things that go on, like it seems like it's a small town type of place in a way, and they're great at like
very wealthy town.
Yes, yeah. Like, look at this rug. We could just sweep it under here.
Yeah, let's get it under there.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but that podcast is on our campus, and I would invite you and anybody who might still be listening this far into our conversation to listen to that. It's an important conversation that we're having, I think.
Did you focus on OU specifically for just those reasons, or just because it's closer, or anything?
We focused on OU because those concerns are proximate, right? I might be doing this podcast for 10 years, and my current co-host might not be on next year, but she is a professor and a former dean who was fired from her deanship because of her willingness to speak out on corruption at OU.
And she's got a lawsuit.
She does, yeah. Suzette Grelot is her name. She's the one people will remember her saying, I'm not going to be as kind as people were in the past and ask for your resignation next year. I'm going to fucking ask for it now, to Jim Gallagly.
Yeah.
She said that to him, dropped the letter in his lap. Like, that's her. She's a firebrand. She's smart and tough, and I respect her a great deal. And we have a team working on this,
Yeah.
OU just happens to be where we're focused right now. Yeah.
More to come.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Do you, where do you see yourself like you're doing the stuff with like OKC-SPAN? Mm-hmm. Like 5 years from now? Do you think you still be at a, city council meeting? I would there doing the same thing.
I would love to be able to. I want to focus on local government. I really do. I'd love to be able to, employ other people to go to some of those other meetings or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
What I can't pay anybody for is to have my voice, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and your opinions.
The jokes you're going to make aren't the same as the ones I'm going to make, right? But I wanted to pay my bills, and I'll stick with it.
It's a great
for
incentive.
A while. Yeah.
Yeah.
As of right now, my rent is paid by OKC-SPAN, and I supplement that significantly with the articles I write for Free Press OKC. In the future, it would be nice to worry less about money.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really sure what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, nobody does, you know.
No,
I mean, you can't say what happens next
right,
year sometimes, which was 5, you know, but.
Yeah. Right now, it's really nice to be able to own the means. Sure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I own OKC-SPAN.
Yeah.
And I am the sole employee. If I was to hire somebody, I believe I would need to pay them at the very least $15 an hour, which is not what I make doing this.
Yeah.
And I believe I would need to provide them with health care, which I am not provided with right now through OKC-SPAN. Mm-hmm. I'm fortunate. I do have medical insurance, but before I could expand, I would need to be making significantly more money, and what it would look like. I would rather have a partner than have an employee. I just don't believe in paying rent. I don't believe in employees, bosses versus employees. I don't believe in that. And so I'd have to look a lot at what that would look like.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, the reason I asked that is like, there's so many places, you know, it can go, obviously, but like, do you see, like, there's other people there, like, sometimes live tweeting with you, you know, like from the Oklahoman or something. You know?
Yeah, pretty rarely, but like Kayla from the Oklahoman goes to county meetings that I go to, and sometimes she tweets while she's there, but I like Kayla a lot. Yeah. I really do. I think she's great at her job. Her articles are good. Her last name is Branch. Mm-hmm. That's Kayla Branch, not Caleb Ranch. But she read her articles on the Oklahoman and follow her on Twitter. I really like Kayla. But she doesn't have the latitude I do to say
whatever you want.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And Bill Crum from the Oklahoman covers city council and some other city stuff. He just pops in, looks at the agenda, here's what people are saying, and writes the most brief, terse possible.
It's the check marks.
Yeah. And God love him. He's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not the same what they're doing.
No.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll have a friend at one of them. Cody Lusnia is a good example. He'll come to a meeting and he'll be like tweeting during it, and I'm like, bruh, by my style. But no, a lot of times when friends live tweet a meeting, they'll tweet like, mad probs to Marty. I don't know. This is hard to keep up with, and it is hard to keep up with.
I mean, I can imagine, especially because you're doing it from phone.
I'm doing it on my phone at the
city.
It's
all thumbs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. At the county, sometimes I'll use my laptop, but not usually.
Yeah.
City Hall's Wi-Fi is fucking garbage. So I use my phone because I could be on data there. I can't tweet from my computer with how bad their Wi-Fi is.
Setting up some kind of antenna. Jesus.
I would love it. Yeah.
Well, dude, I hope it gets like more successful. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Like something I told you, you know, like it inspires people. It really does. Like, it's simple and easy. And then plus people get caught up in like life and they're like, fuck this. Why do I need to go keep it up? You know?
I love it. I appreciate you saying that. I love that. Like, I had lunch with a friend this week and he said, I literally didn't know what a county commissioner was until I started following this. So,
man, I think that's a big problem with like every single issue we have today. You know what I mean? Like, it's so complicated.
Yeah.
You know, there was something like about, it was the Bernie Madoff whistleblower. and he's like implicating some other GE, I think now, some other huge company that we could never fathom, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. Like, that guy had a team of people.
Yes.
Spending months.
Yes.
And it's like, we kind of scratched the surface a little bit.
Yeah.
How would you ever know?
Everything's so dirty.
No, no, man. It's like just, it's in a closet somewhere back here. Like, we kept them to wraps. That people come up with, like, everything is run like that. It's just so fucking in the face of people.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you to give the names out for who has this place over here.
Kind of company allowed us to use their studio. We are not using their equipment or their know-how, but we are sitting in the dining room of my friends Katrina and Nate Ward, who are out of town right now, and they let me just come into their home.
Thank you.
So, yeah. They're the best people I know. They and JoBeth, they make me hopeful for our world.
They're the top of the list.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir, for coming on, and I hope to have you back on.
Love
There's
to.
plenty to talk about.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, dude, there's so much shit, like, wrong, like, much less what is right, you know? Like, things we could, like you said, positive things go slowly. Like, man, there's all sorts of things we could hope for, but clock's ticking, man.
Yeah, for real. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, Brad.
And plug again, like, you got OKC-SPAN.
OKC-SPAN on Twitter. That's at OKC_SPAN. The podcast edition is OKC-SPAN. And then my personal Twitter, which I want to follow because I'm hilarious, is at MartyPeercy at Marty Peercy. So, and you can you really should check out OKC Free Press for very hyper local coverage. Like, they don't cover Norman, Moore, Yukon.
It's
just
Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
Free Press,
absolutely. Just Oklahoma City. But they publish articles from me about local government pretty frequently. So
awesome. Well, I'll keep reading.
Right on.
No more to do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.